Well, hi guys. I don't know why summertime, I just can't seem to get looking nice for you. Summertime, like, I don't know why it changed. I mean, there's just more to do outside, and the boys don't have school, so I don't have to tell them to do school, so I end up playing with them more. We played this new game called Code Names that Gabe got at the library. So anyhow, I'm just thankful that all of you who come along and catch me live know not to expect this to be like a beauty tutorial. Because that's not why we're here, right? We're here to look at fun paper stuff, and you don't look at me too long. We start looking at beautiful colors and paper, and I'm going to show you some new techniques today too. So I'm always excited to come here and always look forward to seeing who visits me. And I do thank you for those of you who even, I know summertime's crazy, so lots of you do check the replay, which is great too. We are going to look at the Beauty of Friendship bundle today. It's, again, Stampin' Up! I have a hard time not buying every single package of paper because their designer paper is gorgeous. So once again, they've made another wonderful coordinating suite with trees. And the trees, I wanted to focus on those today just because it's June. Father's Day is coming up. So these tree kind of sets are great, versatile stamp sets that you could use for anybody. It could be a child, it could be an adult, it could be boys, girls, because everybody loves nature, right? So, and there's just some, I'm going to be showing you a few different stamp sentiments, like saying sentiments, stamp sets that go really well with this tree sentiment too. So I'll be showing you a few, but we're going to focus on the friendship of, or Beauty of Friendship bundle today. So let's not stare at me anymore. Let's look at some fun stuff. And I'm going to try to show you some beginner to avid projects that you can do with this bundle. So lots of fun. Let's turn it around and start our project here. And Wednesdays are going to still continue to be busy days in different ways because Gabe is going to help with, so my now 7th grader, I guess, is going to be helping with our Vacation Bible School. So VBS that isn't till July, but he's going to be on the drama team, which is fun. So I've been helping him study his lines, but he has practice from 4 to 6. So pretty much right after my video, I'll be dropping him off for practice, and then we still have Wednesday night Bible study and stuff with the youth group. So let me show you. These are just some examples. So I guess the suite is called Beauty of the Earth suite. Once again, Stampin' Up! Is genius. And if you love all the coordinating product that comes all together, you can just use the one simple number. And so 155843 is $73.50. You get everything that coordinates together. So that is the Beauty Friendship bundle. So the stamp set and all the dies. You also get the Beauty of Earth Designer Series paper. So you get the whole package of paper, which I'll show you the designs. They're so pretty. And you get the embossing folder that does the bark. Well, here it kind of shows you. It does the bark designer paper, or the tree bark look in the folder. So I love our folders too. So as you can see, the paper is gorgeous. It kind of focuses on, well, it's got colors in all the kind of seasons. So there's summery colors, fall, winter. So very cool that you've got a lot of different seasons there. 2 of the dies are little rectangles that you could put the sayings on. And I love the kind of 2-step stamping. I'll show you that a little bit with some of the trees. They're just fun. And so I love a good stamp set that's got images along with some more sayings, because I can never have enough sayings. Those are usually ones I don't end up selling either, because I love having more words. Okay, so now if you want certain things individually, you can still get, you could get just the stamp set if you don't have the die cutting machine. So I will show you some examples that you could just use the stamp set too. So beginner stampers can use this as well. But if you love the dies that come with it too, always make sure to check the bundle price. And if you love everything and you want it all, that's where you'll get the bundle price, and you'll still get the bundle price, the 10% off when you get the whole suite. Now let me show you the designer paper itself. It's so pretty. So here are, there's 6 different designs and you get 2 sheets of each design. So I love these papers. Lots of fall clusters of color. I love a reason to use my Mary Merlot. There is a wood grain one, and the other side is like summery greens and yellows. Maybe fall, I don't know. This is probably my favorite one. I wish I could have 5 sheets of just this one. So gorgeous. I'm going to show you how you could make such a simple card with this paper, and then greens on the other side. So this one, you could make a card front, and since you have 2 sheets, because one 12 by 12 would make 6 card fronts. So with your 2 sheets, you could make 12 cards out of just the 2 sheets. And really simply. I love this one too, the clouds background, and then pretty, pretty colors. Summery kind of fall. Then we even have like a wintry one. And then pretty leaves, blues and greens. And then there's just a green kind of watercolored look. And then that's the background of that one. So lots of fun stuff because it's all nature. But I'm going to break out of just using the colors in the designer paper too. So don't get stuck in the designer paper colors. But let's show some quick, easy ones that you can make with just the designer paper. So this card that I made has the Mary Merlot base. And I literally just took the tree stamp, stamped it once in the early espresso, and then added a sentiment on there. And that's all I did. Super, super easy. Here's another one. When you use dies, I cut this right out of actually the background base of the card. And then I even cut this right out of this designer series paper. So it did create a little bit of weird, weird window, but that's okay. I used all those pieces right from the card front and the designer paper. And just put the thinking of you right there. Very simple. So when you have dies, that's an easy way to kind of step it up. Here's another one where I stepped it up with a background and used that bark embossing folder behind you too. And then I embossed the whole background, and then I actually used that. This is Bumblebee. Yeah, this is the Bumblebee color. And I cut that piece right out of there, and I stamped the happy birthday, and I added a little skinny, the Bumblebee ribbon, gingham ribbon. So a happy birthday card, super easy when you've got such awesome designer paper. So let's take out that, the paper that I just showed you, and we'll use a different, we're gonna do something similar to this one. Okay, but I'm gonna actually use gray in the background. It's got more browns, but it goes, well, let me use my paper cutter. If you don't have the paper cutter trimmer, this is just an awesome tool, because I can look right at 4 1/4, so you don't have to guess scoring your paper. Fold that, and it's not quite as stark of a difference as it was on the Mary Merlot, so I'll probably add a little bit of sponging to it. But what I do want to do, like I did on my other card, I'm going to take out my early espresso, and I'm going to stamp the tree a couple times just in the middle of there. So I'm inking it up in early espresso. Hey, hello. Thanks for joining me. Say hi if you're coming on this June day. I know it's busy. Tomorrow is the last day to sign up for the Paper Pumpkin, and that's going to be an awesome, awesome subscription. So you don't want to miss the June box, because it's going to match our artistic, or expressions in ink, or I forget what bundle that is. What it's actually called, but it's got the alcohol ink kind of texture on there. Okay, so I just stamped that really quickly on there. And then I do want to add some sponging. I was certain I grabbed a sponge here. We'll stick with the early espresso since I used that. And our new pads open up like a compact case. Okay, so you just lift it up and then slide it in. So it actually is easier than our old style ones. But I still see people getting their fingers all messy. If you hold the sides, they've got little grooves on there. If you hold the sides and then you pull just this end tab, I don't get my fingers too crazy messy. You just have to be careful. So hold on to the sides even and push the end in, and then you don't get it too inked up. But we're gonna show you, I'm excited to show you the new decorative masks too. Our masks, or what you would maybe call stencils, are just so awesome and make a quick card look fun too. So sponging is one of my favorites. A few people have been coming to my card classes. I'm so excited. It's so much fun to see people. I've got a couple more friends coming tomorrow, and I've got a few more people coming next week. So thank you, Carol and Rhonda, who came. I just saw them yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Okay, now it doesn't look like much when you sponge, but when I lay it back down on the card, you will see how fun is that. It just adds an extra border of color without having to layer it on a whole big piece of cardstock. You just sponge a border. And I know the sad thing is with designer paper, you do have to glue down one side. But again, sometimes if it's pretty enough on both sides, you could actually punch out or cut out a window right on your card base. I've done that before. You guys have seen me do that, right? Okay. Now I'm just going to take a circle that I've cut out already. This is too big because it pretty much covers up my trees. Maybe I don't care. I used this one that said, "You truly inspire me." But I think this friendships one, refreshes the soul, will work. I might try something different actually. Let's see what it looks like. I'm gonna stick with just one color. So far I have just used one color of ink, my early espresso. It is nice to have a good deep neutral. I'm gonna stamp this as close as I can to the top of the circle. That turned out so pretty, didn't it? I love the font of this. And I'm gonna trim this off so it's just not so big. And I'm gonna take my sponge again and sponge around the edges of even my white piece here. Now you could use, this was one of our stitched dies, but you could use a circle punch as well. And that way it's not covering up that second tree. I like it. I like it a lot. And then we'll just pop that up with dimensionals. Love dimensionals. I have the number memorized. It's 104430 is the number to the dimensionals because I add dimensionals to almost every order of mine. And isn't that pretty? So basic. Friendships refresh the soul, and that could be a birthday for a friend. That could be a thank you so much. That could be a lot of different things, right? A just because card, just because you're awesome and I love you. So how fast and easy is that? So there's just a few ways to use that beautiful designer paper. And again, this is probably my favorite design. That the colors are just so pretty. But you can do it with any of those designs. They're all pretty. I love them. Okay, so those are really easy kind of beginner cards. I didn't really use the tree dies yet. I used mostly the stamp set. I did use some dies or punches to make the sentiment on there. Now I did want to show you, I had shown you this card using the bordered. Remember I showed you guys These are another classic I think you might miss because they're just in the back. They don't come like match with the stamp set. They're just the border dies. But don't think they're just the border dies. I love these with the cloud border, the rounded one. I love all those edges. They're so cool. I think they are just basic borders dies. Love it. I had been asking Stampin' Up! To do some borders. So I wanted to show you, because I'd made this one with that other suite and paper, and I just want to show you, look how different these look. I used the exact same pieces, so I'd cut a white piece with that border, and then I cut a piece of that gold striped designer paper, and with this one I still then added the tree and thanks friend in there. So I did want to show off this stamp set to you. Biggest Wish, very cool set, because I love mixing the fonts of hey Teresa, thanks for joining me. So I got two sets that are very similar, but you can do so many different things. So Biggest Wish and then Create with Friends. You can make lots of different phrases with. But I am going to kind of showcase this Biggest Wish one today alongside, because some of these work just really well with any stamp set that you get. It's nice to have more words, right? Just love the font of it too. So here's one in purple, and then here's one with red and poppy, and just different stamp sets. You can do so much different things with it, right? So awesome. Now I want to show you a real basic, and this isn't using the tree, but I did want to show you more of the Biggest Wish, and I do want to show you real quickly how awesome the our new decorative masks are. They're so cool. So isn't this like, I think I got this idea from Emma Goddard. She's one of our artisans, but I love the sponging over the stencils. Let me close my early espresso ink. And we're going to do a purple one again. Teresa, I know you love purple. Rhonda, I know there's quite a few of you who I know love purple. I mean, I love purple too. It's hard for me to actually pick a favorite color because there's so many pretty colors. I love Coastal Cabana. I love the new Fresh Freesia color that just came out. I love Coastal Cabana. There's just so many cool colors. Okay, now let me show you over the white paper. There's this cool kind of scaly one. There's this little flowery decorative mask, and I think they're 6x6 size here. So it definitely covers a card front. Now these are cool that you could just sponge in the center of a card front or whatever and then add stuff. Very fun. Ornate kind of medallion looking ones. And then the one that I used for that masculine card, these triangles. So cool. I love it. Yes, you love the new in colors. I know. It's hard for me to pick which are my favorite new in colors too. Because out of all, like the past 5 years, I would say this is probably one of my favorite set of in colors. Okay. Now, if you are a perfectionist, you might want to get grid paper. We do sell grid paper because one, it's just nice to get it lined up right on the grid so you can keep it straight. And I might use, I usually don't. You could use like washi tape to hold it down, but if you get it on the grid line, then you know it's straight. And then you can also make sure your stencil is lined up straight too. So you get your design nice and straight. Now I'm gonna do a similar thing, but I'm gonna use these little flowers and in purples. And I'm going to start with Blackberry Bliss. So this is one of our deep purples. And then I'm also gonna be, and I'm using our blending brushes here. I love our blending brushes. They're so nice. I'm also going to use some Highland Heather because that's the card base color. So I'm going to be blending with both of these, but I'm going to start with, so I'm moving my blending brush in circular motions. I'm gonna hold that down. I'm starting in the bottom and moving up. And because our inks, most of our inks are water-based, it's a simple rinse these stencils under warm water and it will wash up just fine. Sometimes you may want to use soap, but you don't really need to. Okay. All right, so that's enough of Blackberry Bliss. Now I'm gonna go in with my Highland Heather and I'm just gonna go from the sides here. And it's kind of fun, even when you're using 2 shades of purple, to just kind of see how well it blends. I'm going close to the top, but I'm not going to go all the way to the top because it's just fun to see how it blends. And it's nice to leave some white space when you like doing the ombre look. Look how fun that is. So cool. I probably went up a little further than I wanted to, but that's okay. All right, so now I can go in with the Blackberry Bliss. So that was the darker color I did. And I'll stamp the Happy up here closer to the top. So fun. And then I'm gonna stamp, so I'm gonna show you just what I did with the birthday there to make that, if you can even tell, it's kind of popped up. I stamped it on a scrap piece of paper. So if I find my birthday here, I'm gonna stamp the birthday in the Highland Heather there. Another thing, I talked about the paper trimmer, but this chamois is only $8 and it's so awesome. You just wet it and you can rinse it out after you've used it. I keep mine in an old case, but it leaves no lint. It's just really great. So it'll stay stained. You can rinse out some of the color, but it's totally fine. They're so good. I've had mine for a couple years and I love it. Love it a lot. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of Seal Plus on the back. Now, the difference between guys and girls, most of the guys and girls I know, guys would be totally fine with no extra embellishments. The triangles, I think, are masculine kind of shape, so I think that'd be kind of cool. And they would be totally fine, right? Now, girls probably would want a little extra something. So now I wish I had my paper snips. You know what? I'm gonna go grab my paper snips because I don't like cutting with anything else. Again, today must be the, let me encourage you what tools to get, because the paper trimmer I use all the time. The blending brushes I love. And these paper snips, they're different than your average scissors. Okay, so I like leaving a little bit of space around, but our paper snips are so little, so they're not too clunky. So I feel like I can get around curves a little bit better. I'm pretty much just holding my paper and following the little curves of the word here. I don't know if you guys check out Pinterest, I don't know, this is just getting more popular to fussy cut around words, and I can see why, because it just looks cool. So I'm leaving enough space that people's eyes will still just be pointed to the perfection of your stamped word rather than our imperfect cutting. You know, so I try my best to kind of stay along the lines of the font, but you know, you don't always get it perfect, but that's okay. When you leave a little bit of space, again, people's eyes will be drawn to the lines that are stamped. Okay, so ta-da! Then when you cut that out, you can kind of layer that. You want to still be able to see happy and tell that that's happy. But then I can pop that up with dimensionals. And I use my gunky scissors when I want to cut. I could have used mini too, but I just have these right in front of me, so. So just 2 dimensionals, just one I cut in half there. Add the happy birthday. And isn't that pretty? Simple. I love the masks. They are just so cool. Now what you could do quick, you know, if you have a simple flower punch or something, I think, I don't know, would I go crazy and add a different color of a flower? Maybe yellows? Or orange? I don't know. I think this one is still current. You'll have to check me on it. This little blossom punch. We'll just make a little cluster of 3 flowers, and I'll do the centers in the, this is Mango Melody. It's a pretty orangey yellow. So yellows go with purple, pretty. So this is just another way if you want to step up for, you know, a little girl, to add a little bit more color. So you could use Tombow glue or glue dots. I'm going to add a glue dot on the backs of the centers of the flowers here. And you see how I just, you can also, I've got this on a foam pad, say anything like a pencil, like an eraser or an end that has a little end here. I'm just gonna press that into the flower's center. And that's another fun way to kind of give your flower a little curl to it. Mint or satin, yeah, the greens and purples look pretty too. Teresa, you're right. I do love greens and purples. Which, you know, if I wanted to go real crazy, I could add some little flowers too. Or not flowers, but leaves. Add some minty leaves. But for now, I'll probably just leave it at this. Then let's see if I have a sheet of mini dimensionals here. Here's some mini. Then I can just put a mini dimensional on the back of these little blossom. Let's see. I'll put one up here. See, just a quick, simple little addition, and oh, isn't that so cute? What little girl wouldn't love this simple little card? And it didn't take a whole lot of time to make. So fun. Here's a boy card, and there's a girl card. Just simply using our blending brushes and brushing right over those masks. Very cool, simple backgrounds. So I highly recommend those decorative masks. They're really fun. Let's see, fun with dies, just some show and tell. This is that sky looking paper. And then here I cut out the dies. Let me just show you the dies here. Okay, so you have a die that cuts out a bigger tree base than one that cuts out a smaller tree base. You've got, I love this die piece that cuts out kind of a more intricate thing that go on the tree. And then a die that cuts out the bigger piece. So I used some of the green designer paper for the background, and then I cut out with this more intricate piece out of some designer paper out of Mossy Meadow. So it kind of gives that layered effect, which is kind of cool. Then there's one that cuts out one of our other tree images stamps, matches that one. There's one that matches the smaller tree image, stamped image. It comes with some little birdies that it cuts out, and then also comes out with these rectangle punches. So very fun. And then I did use the scalloped edge from those color and contour dies. And a simple thank you card. It's just so fun. Here's branching out of the colors and using just brights. I think all of these are from the Brights family, yeah. So we've got Poppy Parade, Mango Melody, our Granny Apple Green, and Coastal Cabana colors. And I used, the background actually is So Saffron. So that's one of the softer colors. And then I want to show you another stamp set. I know I'm showing you a lot of sayings. But After the Storm, this was such, I love the sentiments on here. I love the font of it. There's a just because on there too. A little sunshine for your day. So that's what I used on here. A little sunshine for your day. And then if you see the rays of the sun, I used that in the background. Can you see the rays of sunshine? Just such a pretty little background detail. So this one has some clouds. Here it says, "You have been on my mind." And it also says, "Even the darkest night will pass and the sun will rise." I love that sentiment. Very pretty sentiment. So when you need a thinking of you card for someone and someone needs a little encouragement, who wouldn't love these colors in these bright? Yeah, thank you, Teresa. The dies are fun. So I cut out the littlest tree in white, and then I used the smaller tree in the colors, so in Poppy Parade, Mango Melody, Granny Apple Green. And then I actually used this intricate one, so there isn't an intricate one that fits that, but I used this and cut it out. And then after I'd cut those out in all those colors, I just went back in with this die and cut over that piece, so it would pretty much just fit right over the smaller tree, if that makes sense. I found that idea on Pinterest and I thought that was brilliant. So those pieces I just kind of stamped down with this same color of ink, and then I cut it out with those dies. So very fun, bright, and it didn't take a whole lot longer, but you are cutting the dies. So if you don't have the big shot or the die cutting and embossing machine, I would highly recommend you save up for that, or have a party sometime I would love to do a party. I haven't done a party for quite a while, actually, since before COVID hit and everything. So before I signed up as a demonstrator 16 years ago, I had a party at least once or twice a year to try to earn some free stuff. And then I just decided I wanted so much I needed to get the discount and sell it myself. So, but if those of you who really are loving everything, have a party and let your friends kind of help you earn some free stuff. And that's always a fun way to build up your Stampin' Supplies. Okay, I also want to show you, this was something, one of our Stampin' Above events. I didn't finish this card, but I want to finish it with you. This I thought was kind of a cool, because it's kind of a stand. You can stand it up because this piece of designer paper. So you use a 12, I think I just cut it maybe 2 inches by a 12-inch piece of paper. So my background for my card is 4 inches by 5.5. So normal length or the tallness of it, but I did make it 4 inches just so it would be easier for me to score. Okay, so this will be kind of a tri-fold thing. So I stamped the tree first, and then I glued this down. I scored at 4 and then at 8 so that it will fold, and you could choose which way it folds. Thanks, Teresa. Yeah, I totally got this from somebody who showed, who was demonstrating this, this whole bundle at one of our events. And I thought this was such a cool idea. Now, because this designer paper has 2 different sides, I did cut another piece of designer paper to cover over the 2 sides that fold out. Okay, so what I'll do is just glue this down. I'm just going to use Tombow. I have a little bit of a tickle in my throat. I hate when that happens when I'm talking a lot. Okay, so I just glued that down. I didn't put any too close to the top because I'm going to just rip this kind of along. It doesn't matter if it matches perfectly with the other piece. There we go. Okay, so both of them are a little bit ripped. We could sponge the edges if you wanted to add some texture there on the hills. But I think it's fine that you see a little bit of the other side there. Okay, now I want this tree, I'm gonna keep this tree, allergies possibly with all this cottonwood. The cottonwood flying everywhere, oh my goodness, it's a little bit crazy. But I usually get hay fever in August. August is when it usually hits me worse. Okay, now I also wanted to show you how I made this tree look brown on both sides because it's designer paper, it's 2 different designs, right? So this is where the tri-fold, if you're gonna have a tree on one of the pieces that folds out, you do a little bit more work because what I did then was I cut out one tree with the brown side of the designer paper, and then I cut another tree with the other side up because I'm going to use it, I'm going to put it together just like that so that, yeah, it's the unfinished side on the other side, but it's still gonna be the brown side that will match, because then the reverse side will actually match with it, right? If that makes sense to you, I hope. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of Tombow glue, and I'm gluing these pieces together, this tree. Just a little bit on some of the branches. It doesn't have to be perfectly together up in all the branches, you'll see, because I'll be gluing some other stuff on it. Okay. So hopefully that made sense to you. Sorry, I hope I didn't lose you. My phone just said trying to reconnect. Hopefully you guys are still here. Teresa, Chris, you guys still here? Hope you can still hear me. Okay, so this tree is gonna be on the front of the card then. And I'm gonna glue it on the front. So I want I don't know if you can tell, you probably can see this on my phone. This is the more unfinished side, so I'm going to put the finished side on the part that someone will see when they first open up the card. Okay, so because I want that to stay pretty good, I'm going to add like at least 3 glue dots on the tree trunk here, maybe 4. Let's see. I think I will add 4. All right. Now I'm going to do a similar thing. This one I'm not going to leave bare. I want to add a little more color to our card. So I'm going to add that, just the intricate die. I do want that to fit on the inside of the card there. And it's okay if it hangs over a little bit because this base is only 4 inches. Now you could make another, like if you wanted to mat it, you could make another the size of a real card to be the base of the card, but you don't have to. Okay, so now you see brown on both sides of the tree, but I did a similar thing with the intricate die here to put a little bit of leaves, so it's more like fall leaves on here. So I did the same thing where I cut out one side and then I flipped over my designer paper and I cut that out so that they will match perfectly. So again, the more finished side I want to put on the front. And this is where this gets a little bit tricky because I don't want to stick glue down and it stick to anything but the tree. So what I'm gonna do, and this is where you get to see me like, oh, think through what really am I gonna do here. All right, so I'm gonna put that where I want it to line up. And really it doesn't matter. If it gets a little bit crooked, it's gonna be fine. You just don't want it super crooked. All right. And what I'm gonna do is put some glue dots . What am I gonna do? I want to put glue dots on the designer paper where I can see there's not holes, because I'm going to match it up right with the other piece of designer paper. So see, this is where you get to see me making it up here. I'm putting, I don't know, I think I've put at least 5 or 6 kind of all over the place. So it's okay if it gets on the tree. Hopefully it'll help it just all stick together. I think that's some of the designer paper. All right, so I'm gonna peel off my little backings to my glue dots. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so I put 6. I want that one to stay. Oh, 7. All right, so I put 7 glue dots all over. Now I'm gonna line this one up. Oops, this way is where it will match up. And I kind of want to find all those same grooves. And I'm just gonna press down and hopefully this will stay. And there was something that it didn't. I got one glue dot that didn't want to go on the paper. All right. Okay, so that was a little more work than I thought it would be. But it's gonna be pretty, isn't it? Darn it. Okay, so it's got, then when you fold it out, people will still see all the trees, which is kind of fun. And it folds out a little bit differently, which is fun. You've added some color in there. I cut out 2 of the burgundy birds, so I'll just put those down here. So once you open the card, you'll see the little birdies. They're so cute. And I'm just going to put them on with a little glue dot. I'll put one on the ground too. So this is where hopefully you're seeing with pretty much any bundle or stamp set, you can go as intricate as you want. Oh, that's the wrong way. Or you can go as simple as you want. That's what I love about Stampin' Up! And our products. It really is for anyone. Now I'm gonna get a little crazy, and I'm gonna add one of the clouds from this After the Storm. I want it to be pretty light because this isn't, let's see, fall colors. What do the clouds look like? I mean, clouds are pretty much white, but I don't know. Do I make gray cloud? I'm going to use my granite gray and see what that looks like. I'm going to stamp off. There. That just adds some texture there. I don't know if I should have used the gray or not, but that's okay. Then, oops, I think I'm going to use another one from here because why not? For a very good friend, you just make a just because. And just because, you know, you could say just because you're awesome or whatever. Just because it's your birthday. Let's see, I don't know how. I'm going to use the gray granite again in like full strength with the just because. Just because. I don't know why, just because. So I don't think I'm going to finish this one yet. But I would probably say just because, and then when you open it up on the inside, have a sentiment in here. So whether it's just because birthday, thank you, Teresa. Isn't that fun? And it's really not too bad. You could do something different with that tree. Maybe I would say use, if you're doing this style of card, now that I've done this, and this was my first time making a card like this, I would probably use this die on that tree. Just so it would be easier to adhere it together instead of that intricate one. That was a little bit trickier to find where to put the glue dots. So that's the only thing I would say I would probably change about this, but I still think it looks cute. So just because, and then I'm not sure why I'm gonna send this to someone. Just because I love you, just because it's your birthday. So, fun. Yeah, pool party would have been nice too, Teresa. I wish there wasn't a delay. Your suggestions, I always like your suggestions. But it looks okay with the gray granite clouds in there too. Kind of fun. If you wanted to add a little bit more brighter color, you could actually even just sponge some blue in there to make it more like a sky or something if you wanted. So, fun. So that's kind of a trifold, and then after you're done, it will stand up like that. And isn't that fun? Then somebody can leave it up on their desk with all of its beauty just sticking out there for everyone to see. All right. Final card, I think. Final card that I'm going to show you is for those of you who are paper hoarders. You have tons of paper. You don't know what to do with it. The next like 3 weeks, I'm going to show you kind of towards the end something fun that you can, and different that you can do with your designer paper, your 12 by 12 paper. I know I have a ton, and I try to sell it, and I give people my paper too, because I have a lot of it. because Stampin' Up! Keeps coming up with so much, it's hard for me to use it. Okay, so this is a 12 by 5.5 piece, okay? And what I did, now, so you're using almost exactly a half of a sheet of designer paper. So again, this is for those of you who, and I know there's plenty of you, like Rhonda, who have almost a store worth of designer paper that can afford to use your designer paper to make a trifold card like this. And I wanted to show you a little bit. So this one I used a stamp set. Where'd it go? This stamp set comes in a bundle with some different tree dies, but because I already had this Beauty of Friendship die, but I really loved these sentiments, I just bought this stamp set instead of the dies because I loved even the With Heartfelt Sympathy one, You Make a Difference Every Day, Sending Healing Thoughts Your Way, Thinking of You on Your Special Day. It's even got a Christmas one, Wishing You All the Beautiful Gifts of Christmas. A birthday sentiment to go on the inside, which I used on this one. I used Thinking of You on Your Special Day, and on the inside it says, it's your time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and know you're celebrated. I like that. That's fun. So it's got peace, joy, and love, and then the sentiment, it's got a hello, thanks so much. And then I love this one, and I think it fits so well with the trees, is sheltering you with love at a time when words fall short. I just love that. So often our words are just not enough, right? But don't be afraid to still send a card to someone that you love that's hurting. And sometimes that can say enough. Your sentiment in your card, and just say, I love you. Here's a hug in the mail because I love you. Because sometimes there's just nothing to say, right? So I love this Inspired Thoughts stamp set too. Lots of good word sentiments in this. And then I did stamp the trees on the inside of the fold there, just because I thought it'd be fun. Say hello. And then this is a fun way to showcase both sides of beautiful paper. So this designer paper is the hand-penned designer paper. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, oh, and this sparkly shimmer vellum is awesome. I love our shimmer vellum. It's you probably can't even tell how beautiful this is on the camera, but when you open it up and you buy the shimmer vellum, it's just so much more sparkly than you could ever imagine, and it's gorgeous, and you're gonna love it. And it's in color, so I would highly recommend that. Okay, and I guess I would also say one of the dies that I have been using again and again, and I think in the past few videos I've done, are these scalloped rectangles in the color or the contour dies that go with the color and contour stamp set. I use those in pretty much every stamp set that I've played with. Okay, so this is actually some of the designer paper from that the Beauty of Earth designer paper. I love both sides. I'm not sure which one I want to use on the inside or the outside. But I think this one, we're going to use some of the sympathy ones. Okay, so let me get out my paper trimmer. I really wish I could see the time on my phone when I was doing my lives. Okay, so I'm going to score it at 4. And then your arm does pull out so you can go a little further. 4 and then 8. And that's all the scoring, so it's super easy. You're just making a 4-inch center. And then when it folds in, it'll fold over. Now what I did to make my whole card curved, I'll do it again. I'll show you before I even do any more stamping. If I could find my punch, which I just used last night. Here it's buried under some stamp sets. That's all right. So I've got 3 layers, but the designer paper is thinner than our paper. Oh, thank you, Teresa. I'll try to be quick with this last one. I've got it through all 3 layers and I'm just punching the corner one. So this is the triple corner punch. Love this one. The rounded corner is probably the one I use the most. It's awesome. Just make sure you got it all the way in the corner. And that just punched out all those corners for me. Love it. And now my whole card is rounded. Isn't that so fun? Okay, so on the inside of my card, because it's all designer paper, you want to make sure you have some basic something. So you could just cut like a 3 by 4.5 piece of paper too, but why not use your scalloped dies? Because it just makes it look so much prettier on the inside. And then right away, I know I want to use the sympathy one. So where is my, well, maybe I'll use the gray granite again. And where's my sympathy one? With heartfelt sympathy, that's going to be in the front. And I want to use sheltering you with love at a time when words fall short. There. Sheltering you with love at a time when words fall short. What a beautiful sentiment. Actually, since I use gray granite, maybe I'll use that to stamp my tree base on this card. We'll use the grays. And I'm going to stamp that right there. And maybe I'll stamp it again. This will be the front. So when you open it up, no. I'm even using, guys, sometimes you may want to use a foam pad underneath your photopolymer stamps. Now that one didn't come out right. This is where I'm glad that they are photopolymer. There, so I stamped off. I did a couple trees. That one didn't stamp perfectly, but that's okay. Now on this one, it's a little bit more wintry, so let's use some like blues and purples or something. I don't know. I know in the wintertime it would be bare, but we don't have to follow the nature's rules when we stamp, right? So I'm going to take out the smaller tree, and I'm going to use, for the background, man, I really want to use my Seaside spray, but that's retired now. So sad. What blue can I use? I'll use the balmy blue. And I want these to be fairly light. So I'm going to see first what they look like stamped off here. Yeah, I'll use the lighter version. So I'm going to stamp off once, and then I'll stamp on my tree the blue. So this is balmy blue. And then I want to show you what I did to get these almost like blossoms on my green tree. I'll do this again, but with a purple this time. Or maybe navy. Maybe I should do navy. So now I'm going to take out the more intricate one. So that's this one. Because I did just stamp with this, right? Nah, I can't remember. Yeah, that one still has a little blue. So remember, there's 2-step stamping. Now this one, I'm going to use my marker, and I'm not coloring the whole thing. I'm just going to color more of the outside edges, maybe a little bit in the middle, and over here. And I'm going to stamp that. And a little higher too. And that gives some two-tone color to that. Isn't that pretty? I stamped maybe a little bit too high, but that's all right. That's okay. Again, we don't need to follow nature's rules. They can look however we want it. However we want it to. I want to look back at my catalog even. When you're uncertain of what colors to use, where did I put my camera? Here it is. Oh, Misty Moonlight. That's all right. I'm going to put this up a little bit higher because, let's see, with Heartfelt Sympathy, I'll stamp it at the bottom just like I did this one. I think I want to use ribbon or twine or something. This was twine from that masculine suited up or whatever. Sweet. So these wintry colors, you could use this for guy or girl, right? Like, goodness, it could be for anybody. Now I'm gonna add just 2 dimensionals. We're not gonna go crazy with the dimensionals. Top and bottom. I'm gonna get that down where I want it with my twine underneath here somewhere. And I'm gonna tie this right around. Make sure you get it in the right opposing scallops there so it doesn't go wonky on you. That keeps it straight too. So I'm tying a knot first. That helps me tie my bow better. So then you don't have to worry about holding the center there down. And again, this thin twine, this could still be masculine or feminine. You know, you could go either way. For a guy or a girl with the thin, it's not like too sparkly or anything. And then let me get my Night of Navy. All right. Somehow I can't find my Night of Navy ink pad. That's okay. I have my, and you know what I'm going to do? Because I'm using my markers, I'm going to stamp the top part in my Night of Navy, and I'm going to make the sympathy in black. We'll see if you can even tell a difference, but because I want it to still be pretty dark colors. But here's my black for sympathy. It's fun to mix and match when you have the markers. And then we'll just call that done. So I'm going to open that up so it's flat. There, you can kind of tell that's different. With Heartfelt is a little bit lighter than the sympathy. You can open that up. Isn't that nice? So, that is a trifold card, and it isn't too hard when you have lots of extra designer paper. Use it up and make a fun card that's got, it just shows off all those pretty sides. So if you love your designer paper, I know some of you, it's hard to use a whole half of a sheet of designer paper, but some of you have so much. Get it out and cut it up and use it, and send those hugs in the mail to people who need it. So that's my encouragement to you. So this was the other trifold card that I used with the hand-penned paper. So kind of a cool wintry one and a springy one, and you can, you know, again, trees can be any sentiment. Then we did some showing off some easy ways to just use that pretty designer paper and any sentiment that you have. The designer paper is so pretty. Here's ways to mix it up. Use those bright colors. Use other, you know, your border dyes. Use other things. Mix and match. Here we showed sponging and using those blending brushes with the stencils or our decorative masks. Using classic colors to using bright colors, but using our dyes. The dyes are amazing and fun to use. And then this was the stepped up kind of trifold opening on the bottom card that you could make for someone. So I hope you guys liked what I had to show you today. Real quick, I know you've been here. Yes, thank you, Teresa. I know you guys have been watching with me. Thanks for sticking along. But it is the month of June. If you order using the host code, the current host code, I actually will give everybody who orders at least $35 and shares my video a sampler of some celebration paper. So these are stamp sets that you can only get this month. So this one's the one that is retiring. So after June, you will not be able to order the Ride the Range. It's really cute. For those of you who love horses, you may want to check those out. The dies are awesome too. These are also the dandelion stamp set staying, but some of the, like the laser cut pieces, those are retiring. The Dandy Garden cards and envelopes, those are retiring. And the Memories and More pieces, those are going to be gone this month. This is probably one of my favorite flowers that is retiring. I'm so sad they're retiring the pretty perennials. Basic background, I did a whole video on this one, but some great flowers. Here's a card that my downline Catherine Schmidt made using just the words, kind of a rainbow order, happy birthday. So you can make super simple the stepped up cards with this too. That's Pretty Perennials. Last month to order that before they are gone. And I'll show you, I was trying to think if I had a package open, but this celebration paper is so gorgeous. It's got lots of fun flowers and bright colors. So you'll get a sample of each design if you order at least $35. So this is now through the end of June. And if you use my host code, which is right here, that's how I'll know that you want to get the free sampler of the designer paper. So here's my host code, 4XMPD6H2. And you guys know where to go, thedrewdaily.stampinup.net. So thanks for joining me, guys, and have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.